Hey, what's up, everybody? We're coming live this afternoon. This hashtag Photo Friday with our good friend Rita, and basically what this is where we're talking about journeys in creativity and photography. And Rita is a hero when it comes to that same exact thing and overcoming your fear and doing that type of stuff. So just getting our setup going. Rita, how's it going?
I'm good. I couldn't hear you for a second, so I had to fix something on my end, but I'm good now. How are you?
Doing great. So we'll let people jump on. It looks like the Capilanator in Nova and Francisco. That's fun to say.
Nova.
I'm going to try to wave at everybody as best I can. I mean, there's so let me just start with saying welcome. Thanks for watching our live, and welcome Rita Quinn. Awesome. How you doing?
I'm good. I apologize in advance if I'm sniffly. The southwest air here in Utah has got me kind of stuffy, so I might sneeze a few times.
Yeah, that's all good. So if you guys don't already know, Rita is the main creative force behind RitaRoams.com and the Phoenix Journeys, and she is an amazing photographer. She's served as a crew chief lead on the South by Southwest photo crew for many years, and is just a creative force and one that is faithfully overcoming fears. And I'm grateful to be able to call her my friend, and as many as you guys are, which is really cool. And so the idea behind hashtag Photo Friday is really to highlight people that I'm close to, friends that I know that are doing amazing things in the creative space and taking leaps of faith to overcome their fear, and the amazing creativity that comes out of overcoming that fear. And we just happen to be photographers in that space, so that's why it's called Photo Friday. So.
Well, gosh, Eric, thank you so much. You literally made my eyes like swell up. It's an honor for me to know you. I've been so blessed to have you in my life for all these years, especially with meeting you on the photo crew and us being able to stay in touch. And we missed you this year for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel so honored that you invited me to be on here with you today. And even just doing this, I'm like, my heart's racing and I feel the fear. So, I can relate to that theme for sure.
Nice. Well, welcome, Lisa. Welcome, Jamie.
Lisa.
It's great to see everybody. So yeah, let's just jump right in. I want to honor your time. It's cool to see and kind of live vicariously through your adventures, through Instagram and Facebook, and seeing all the amazing places that you've been, and additionally the amazing photography that you're capturing of those moments. But let's start with some basics. Maybe some people already know these, and maybe some don't. But how did you get started in photography in the first place?
Well, like all of us that are kind of photo gearheads, I had a love for it as a little kid. Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my camera. It's like really overexposing me. Sorry. Yeah, I started as a kid and just fell in love with it. So I'm 46 years old, so that goes back a little ways, back to film. And so I just always had a love for that. I had a love for capturing moments and memories, and I started to venture in doing it professionally in about 2006 or 2007 when I was back in LA. I had a really great mentor there who was a commercial photographer, and I worked for a company where we hired him. And so he taught me my first like what it means to adjust aperture and what it means to get to different depth of field and all of that. And so I've done some projects with him. And then when I moved to Austin in 2007 is when I was like, I don't want to be in the corporate world anymore. I want to do photography. So I just put myself into that on a professional level and got all the gear and, strobes and flashes and all of that stuff you need to do in order to take really good pictures. I remember getting my first flash and just being blown away with the difference between, being able to add a little bit of light and whatnot. So just did it the way everyone else starts when they just love it and it's a hobby. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I hear a little noise. Is this all right on your end, Erik?
Yeah, it's sounding okay. There's
okay.
A little hiccup, but it's fine.
Okay, cool. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Became a portrait and wedding photographer and threw myself into South by Southwest doing events and music.
Nice. So who mentored you when you were in LA when you first got started?
His name is Matt Callie. And
cool.
We just recently found each other on, I don't know if it was Facebook or Instagram, maybe both of them, but I had kind of swooned over him to let him know just how much he affected me and how much I was grateful to his time, because I don't think even at the time he realized, what kind of monster he was creating. And he's now traveling the world and doing amazing photography still. And so he's a really sweet person, and I'm always grateful to him.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean,
then in Austin, I had a number of wedding and portrait mentors. One of them particularly, I'll give a shout out to. Her name is Deborah Goldus, and she's a fantastic high-end wedding portrait photographer. And she, for like maybe 6 months of learning to do that, she let me second shoot with her, and I did a bunch of stuff with her too. So I was really, really, really grateful to her too.
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, it's important. I mean, I've had some mentors that were for me. So a little bit of background about me, if you don't know. I came out of the sports photography world. I shot pro sports from 2007 to 2012, 2013. Everything from Super Bowl, NBA Finals, and everything in between. I was at Fox Sports, and then I did a short stint at NFL and moved to Austin in 2013, top of 2013, and ended up, that's where I had the pleasure of meeting Rita when I got connected with the South by Photo crew, and which is really cool that you mentioned mentoring, because hopefully this.
Oh, there you are.
Am I still running? Okay.
Yeah, you're good now.
Are you still seeing my picture? I've got a black screen. Sorry about that, guys.
I see you on my end.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep rolling. But yeah, it was really cool to see you passing that same mentorship on to the crew and the people that would come through. And if I'm not mistaken, the South by Photo crew is probably one of the largest volunteer photo crews assembled globally, and has been for a number of years. And as we both know, that's a big machine. But to see your interaction and the way that you very caringly and respectfully come alongside people and help them to grow in their craft is really amazing. So if you guys aren't already following Rita, you need to do that.
Well, it's the best group in the world. I feel so lucky that I get to play with all of those people for 10 crazy crazy days during the festival known as South by Southwest. But yeah, this past year I was asked to, because I was going on all these travels, I stepped down as a crew chief, but I was asked to, because I just kind of can't stay away. So one of the crew chiefs, the senior crew chief, Jonathan, he asked me to, because for the crew chief.
I was breaking up a little bit. Can you guys still hear Rita? It's my first attempt here doing the split screen shared. So no? Oh, she left. Well, I know she was doing she was doing hers from the car in town. I think she's in Moab right now in Utah, which is really cool. But let's see if she'll join us back again. And basically we're talking about photography. We're talking about the journey of photography. We're talking about what Rita's doing and why she's relevant, and just want to learn some things from her and from her experiences, and get inspired by what she's doing. So maybe she's moving to a better Wi-Fi location, or she's stealing Wi-Fi from Starbucks. But can you guys still see me and hear me okay? Yep. Hey, I recognize that Samantha, how you doing? Can you guys see and hear okay? Is it working? I can't tell, my screen is completely black, and we lost Rita there for a second. So see if we can, if she's trying to see if we can't get her back on. Cool, awesome. Doing well. So for people who are just jumping on right now, we're interviewing Rita Quinn of RitaRoams.com and the Phoenix Journeys, and talking about photography, how she got into photography, and maybe gaining some insight and experience. Her phone shut down because it was overheating. Oh, here she is. All right, so she's got to turn the AC. All right, we're going to reconnect. Traveling Trails, how's it going? All right, so coming back on. There she is.
Yay! I'm so sorry. I had to take the cover off of my phone and put it in front of the AC in my car.
There you go. So are you actually in Moab right now?
I am right in downtown Moab, and that's the reason why I'm in my car and not wandering on the street, because my headset wasn't working, and it's really noisy right now because there's a bunch of people riding around on ATVs and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just kind of trying to make it work in here. Sorry.
Cool, it's all good. This is I mean, it's the nature of technology, and this is our first time doing it, so it's totally cool. So we see Samantha jumped on. Yeah, that's cool.
I hope the sound, can you hear okay, Eric? Because
yes,
I have
yeah.
the AC kind of blaring. Okay.
Sounds great. Yep.
Sorry about that.
So let's talk gear for a second. So you've been doing photography for how many years now? 2002, so 16, 18 years?
Professionally for about 15 years. So yeah, I started, as a kid, I started with film and all that stuff. But my first real camera that I learned on was a Canon 20D.
Okay.
For that 20D, I loved it. I was so in love with that camera. I kept that for a while, and then I had a 40D, and then a 7D, and then I moved from Canon over to Nikon. I know. And now my very, very first, I think, Nikon was a D50 or something. It's a little consumer one, and then I got a D7000 and a D600. Now I'm shooting on a D750. So lots and lots of bodies. Once you get into that world, you know how it is.
Yeah. Now, what was the deciding factor for you? Because I know for me, so I made the face when you said Nikon, and that's and I think that people at our level, we respect one another, but it's a fun little dig that we make. But
I will say this: I'm probably one of the few Nikon shooters that has reversed my dials, because I got so ingrained with the way that they turn from a Canon.
Yeah.
So I have it set so that it still controls all of my my aperture and my shutter speed the way it does on a Canon.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was tempted when the D4 came out. I was so tempted to switch because it had more frames per second. The low light was better, and I was fully headlong into sports, and so that speed at low light was a huge thing for me. But I was so financially invested in all of the glass, so all my lenses, and I'm like, and I think the thing that really kept me from making the jump to Nikon at that time was the CPS service, and that was, so Canon has a professional service that they are at most pro sports events, and they provide on-site immediate service. If any of the gear were to fail, they have backups. They bring a service truck or the whole team of people, kind of like they did South by for a couple of years there, which was really cool. And that's what kept me from switching. But I will say this: I'm now shooting mirrorless on Sony.
No!
I know. But it's primarily because of video. So it's a smaller rig. I do a lot of run and gun. But what was the deciding factor for you when? Because I also started on the 20D, which is really, really cool. But what was the deciding factor when you made that switch? Like, what was?
Honestly, it was my business partner. So me and my friend Nicole, who you know, we were shooting weddings together. So we started Knots and Tops Photography back in like 2010 maybe, and we were on different systems. And when we would deliver to our clients, it was kind of driving us crazy. I don't know if our clients could tell as much, but because we were so pouring ourselves over all the editing and trying to make our work look consistent, it was obvious that it was not easy to do that with two different systems, because stuff just looked different. I mean, it
color grading,
the color grading looks different. And so she was already invested in Nikon and only had a certain budget, and I already had a bunch of Canon gear that I could just kind of sell and switch over. So it was just made sense. It really wasn't out of any kind of preference, really, other than just what was going to work for our business and what was best for our customers. And so that's how I ended up moving over to Nikon, and I've not looked back. I'm kind of like you. I'm invested in it now too. You know, even way more than I was when I had the other stuff when I was with Canon, as far as glass and whatnot, and flashes and everything. But I am looking at mirrorless. I'll be honest. There's a number of us that are on the crew that are starting to move over that way. And we were laughing when we had our wrap-up party because there was this conversation around, can mirrorless really do everything that a DSLR can do? And I remember talking with Diego, and I was like, we probably sound like the old film photographers that are like, you can really do
Yeah. Yeah, for me, the mirrorless, I mean, you still have the same control of your shutter, your aperture, you know, your f-stop. I mean, I think the thing that I like about the mirrorless is that I'm finding myself that I'm more running and gunning. It's not like I'm bringing a whole rig and setting up and all that kind of thing, and the size, the compact size of the Sony body and what I'm able to get out of a rig that I can simply stick in my backpack with my other stuff and go. That flexibility. I mean, I was in Austin for 3 or 4 days at a conference, and I was doing some live stream stuff for them, and I had my whole rig and my clothes and my computer and all the stuff in one backpack. So I was like, oh yeah, I can get used to that. And I know that
looking at it.
Yeah, and it probably lends itself better to, you know, the travel vloggers and that kind of thing, which you are one. But,
I'm a budding one, yes.
Yeah, and just so I say, the stuff that you're putting out is amazing. I mean, you have such a great eye, the color, your edits, your composition, the framing. I mean, it really is inspiring. When I scroll through my Instagram feed, I immediately know, oh, that I don't even need to see your title. I can look at the image and go, yeah, Rita's at it again, and it's really cool.
Thank you. That means so much, because I feel like a beginner, to be completely honest, because this is totally different photography than I've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, you know, usually I'm used to being out. Maybe I take some photos of my food or whatever, but it's just this quick little shot on your phone. You know, like, to be able to do it at the level that I'd like to eventually be able to do it at, but, you know, a publication level, it's a whole other game. And I'm like, I suck at food photography. All of this, you know, like, I see some beautiful people that I follow, like their work, and I'm just so inspired. It's a whole other beast. So that means a lot. I appreciate it, because I'm actually super insecure about it.
Well, you're doing a fantastic job, and it is inspiring other people. So what gear are you currently using?
Well, I have my D750 with me, and I pretty much just keep the 24 to 70 on there almost all the time.
Yeah.
And I have also an older mirrorless. So I'm trying to experiment with how I feel about mirrorless, and it's a little Sony NEX6, I think.
Oh, cool.
It's got a little pancake lens on there. It's not great, but I've been using that to try and capture more video, because I wanted something that would just give me a little bit more control than my phone, because that's all I have to capture video with right now. And so I've been playing with that and trying to learn just some very basic movie editing and whatnot, but I feel real clumsy with it. I have a lot of footage that I need to get out that I haven't. That's pretty much my go-tos that are almost with me all the time, which is something that I've been learning with this lifestyle, is that it's not so much about deciding, oh, we're going to go here to do that, but that it's always very spontaneous. And so there's been so much stuff that I've missed. So now it's just kind of part of the life of just, I even, you know, I upgraded my purse to a bigger bag so that I can still stuff in it, but still have a purse and not look like I'm carrying around a bunch of photo gear all the time.
Yeah.
But just so that I have it, because that's what you gotta do.
Right.
I had to get over around feeling like I got a big camera with me all the time.
Well, you mentioned using you have the 2470 almost all the time. So I understand that because of my experience. I understand the focal lengths and why, I mean, what a workhorse that is. But maybe you can share a little bit why that lens is working for you in the different environments that you're in.
Mainly just because it's you know, it's got the wide range on the low that allows me to kind of get a little bit more of the landscapes that I might want. but then I can zoom in when I want to just take a quick portrait. It's not a great portrait lens as far as the focal length goes, but it's enough that I can at least kind of get a nice little blurred background. And you know, a lot of times Val ends up being my photographer. So when I'm taking pictures of me doing something, you know, I set it for him, and then I just tell him, make sure you zoom in, and so it kind of gives me some versatility as opposed to having just a, you know, big 70 to 200, which is one of my favorite lenses, but that's just too big to be carried around. And oftentimes when you're doing kind of lifestyle urban photography, it's too conspicuous. It's too much. I'd have to, you know, be further away from things, and it's just a lot more conspicuous. So I like that one because it just kind of is just an all-purpose lens, like you said, a good workhorse.
Yeah. And some people might be aware of that, some people not. That's just why I was asking. You know, I want to make sure that we're bringing value to the people that are watching, and we definitely honor and appreciate your time and checking this out, and we're hopefully kind of do more of these types of things.
Yeah,
but
I love it.
So Rita, what would you say is one of your biggest photography accomplishments?
Biggest photography accomplishment. I've been really, really blessed with being able to be a wedding photographer and a family portrait photographer for so long. That was a huge accomplishment. It was a really big goal, especially being able to still stay friends with some of them, even though I'm no longer doing that type of photography. I just recently was in Austin in April and photographed a really, really dear friend's wedding, who was one of my very earlier just cheerleaders, you know, and supporting me as a photographer. And so it was really nice to see that kind of come full circle, to be able to deliver that with my business partner. Being part of the Satellite crew definitely is a huge, huge honor. Being able to do that for the last 10 years and see everybody just blow up with what they're doing and have that community. You know, being part of that, I was asked to be part of the Getty Images contribution, you know, photography crew, and so I've been part of that group for almost since I first started, so like 9 years or so. So I've had some of my work published in some, you know, well-known magazines or publications and websites and stuff. So that's a little like kind of cool feather in your cap thing to be able to be like, hey, I was photographed in this or that. But you know, that helped with my wedding business, to be honest, because it kind of gave people a little more like, hey, she's got street cred.
Yeah.
But really, it's honestly been about the people. You know, it's a huge honor to be able to do, especially with wedding photography. And I know it's not for everybody, but if it's something that you really love, it's such an honor to know that people trust you on one of their most expensive days, one of their most special days, and really a stressful day for them to also trust that you're going to be there and help make life better for them during that time instead of, you know, just another burden they have to bear during that time. But that's
And capture one of their major life's moments. That's a lot of pressure.
Oh yeah, no, it is a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So what would be, maybe you can tell us a quick story of one of your biggest failures in, you know, from a photography standpoint, and what you learned from it.
Biggest failure. Okay. Well, I've got a lot of failures. There's definitely been a lot of that. I can remember one time getting an assignment for Getty where they sent me to go photograph something, and I didn't look up. I was too excited about all the people on the list, and I didn't pay attention to the one that I was actually assigned to shoot. And I didn't realize that they swapped the schedule. And so the person I was there to shoot was not not really at the same time that I was expecting to shoot them. So I wasn't really like prepared, and it was a really big assignment. They even sent over an editor to go like grab the pictures immediately instead of me running them back like they would have. And he's like, "Where are the pictures?" And I was like, "I'm gonna go take them right now." And he goes, "They were the band that was just on." Like, oh shoot, I'm so sorry. Like I had stuff because I was there, but I was shooting it more like for myself because I wasn't really thinking this is the professional stuff I needed to be getting. So I didn't get nearly as much coverage as I should have, and I felt so embarrassed. And fortunately, I didn't get kicked off the crew or anything like that. But it was a pretty big mistake, and I felt really unprofessional. And I think that's probably the lesson is treating things as a professional. You know, when you have, it's not just about going out and doing it. It's really taking the time to do the research and understand who your subjects are and understand what is expected of you, and going out and looking at the people that you're going to be covering and see what other people have gotten and learn to predict behaviors so that you can make sure that you get the shot. And so it's all about the mental game and the preparation and the level of professionalism and work ethic versus just kind of like having. When I first started being a professional photographer, it was all about acquiring the professional gear. Now I've gotten to the point where I can shoot some, like people will randomly, I'm in tourism now, so people will randomly say, "Hey, can you take my picture?" And I'm still treating, this might be a phone, but I'm still treating it like a real camera. And I'm like, "You need to stand here, and the light is better over here." And okay, this is it. And they're like, "You really know what you're doing?" And I don't really say anything, but I'm like, "Well, I just want to get a nice shot for you." And it's like, it's all about the mental side of what it means, and I really had to think about that and shift my perspective.
Yeah, I remember shooting some red carpet events in LA and not having the tip sheet because a lot of the PR and marketing team would come ahead of the red carpets and whatnot, and then hand all the photographers and press tip sheets on who's walking through, because a lot of times you have these new artists that might be highlighted and they want to make sure that you're getting them as well, and I would get shots, but then I would miss some because I didn't know who was who.
Right, exactly.
And then they'd be like, "Hey, we saw so and so came through. Did you get?" And I'm like, I don't know who that is. But yeah, I appreciate. I think that's what makes you successful, is because something that stood out to me that you shared is that you've had a lot of failures, and I think that the encouraging part to me is that despite the number of failures that you said that you had, you still pushed through, and you learn from it and grow and keep going. And I think that's a huge attitude, that when you're successful in that space, and really anything is that being able to learn from that and grow. And the more failures are, the more you're going to grow in a shorter amount of time, which is really good.
Every year since I was part of the Getty contributors, I was assigned to shoot the Robert Rodriguez lunch at the beginning of South by Southwest, and so I've heard his speech now maybe 9 years in a row, and every year he starts off his speech with "I hope you fail." And it always stuck with me because, Robert Rodriguez is the whole rebel without a crew kind of thing. And he definitely didn't go to film school, and I didn't go to, photography school or anything. But it's all about just pushing through and that persistence and the failures and not having all the right gear, not having all the right things. It helps you be creative. It helps you figure out how to be solution oriented and problem solve. And find new innovations and things like that. And so I think that's been really big for me. When Nicole and I first started our photography business together, her being professionally trained and classically trained and having a BA in fine art with photography and everything, we butted heads a lot, actually, because I was the rebel without it. You know, I shot sideways and I shot, sun flare and like all the things you're taught to not do. And in the end, she ended up kind of gravitating more to the way that I would shoot, just because it was a little bit freeing and it was a little bit creative, and eventually our styles started to merge. And I think that when you kind of break free of some of those rules, which, is, and in general, I feel that way. I guess that's just my lifestyle, because I'm definitely breaking away from all the rules of life with being on the road and everything. People think I'm a little bit crazy.
Yeah, but I heard in a movie once that all the best people are.
I like that.
I think that was Johnny Depp in Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton version. All right, I'm just giving a shout out on Twitter right now, letting people know that we're live with Rita Roams. So now you have both the Phoenix Journeys and Rita Roams. What are they something that, maybe talk just a second about what those two elements are? Are they living together, or was Phoenix Journeys version 1 and now Rita Roams is version 2? Tell us about that.
That's pretty much it. Rita Roams is definitely where I'm putting all of my attention right now. And mainly it's because it's a little bit more, I realized that I wanted to just live a life. I wanted to just be able to document what I'm doing, share whatever that might be, give people tips on ideas for if they happen to be visiting any of the places that I might be visiting, and not have such a kind of heavy focus like I had originally started with the Phoenix Journeys, which was going to be all about transformation and about this kind of spiritual rebirth, so to speak, the mythology of the Phoenix. And I realized that the first year that we were traveling, and I was traveling under the Phoenix Journeys and trying to focus on that, it became really stressful, because most of my life is really just kind of normal. I'm not like sitting there meditating every single day, and I'm not meeting gurus all the time. Like I didn't have much content. And I started to feel like it wasn't being an authentic version of myself, because I'm not just like some seeker, wandering around the world. It is a big part of me, but it's only a part of me. I also love food, and I like wine, and I have other things in my life, and so I thought. And the other big thing is that I had hoped that the Phoenix Journeys would be kind of a journey for me and my husband, but because he works full time and he's not as interested in social media as I am, he was just like, it's really your project. You just need to not be hiding behind this idea of something that's, kind of separate from you, and instead just be, your journey. And I'll be a character in it. And so that's I think I just killed my battery in my car. Shoot. Because my AC just went off. I'm gonna have to walk outside. It's gonna be a little bit noisy. But yeah, so that's where the Phoenix Journeys kind of morphed, as you said, 2.0 kind of thing, into Rita Roams. There's a little shit out here.
Right now, what's the weather like there in Moab right now?
It's in the 90s.
Oh, okay.
Not as hot as you are, maybe.
Yeah.
And definitely, it feels like home, honestly, because it's sort of deserty, just like Austin. And
yeah, beautiful area. Loved it up there. So I saw you were at Arches yesterday. Was that right?
Yep. Arches is right here in Moab. So we went over there, and I tried my hand at doing some astrophotography, which was tricky, but fun. I'm excited about learning to do a little bit more of that. Doing landscape photography, which I've never really done before, which is again a whole other animal.
Sure, yeah, playing with the long exposures and yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sorry, so noisy, Eric. I hope you can still hear me.
Oh yeah, we're plugging along. It's great.
Okay, cool.
I'm just hoping you're able to start your car when we're done. At least you're in town and somebody will give you a jump, hopefully.
We do have jumper cables, I'm pretty sure.
Nice. So yeah, so if anybody's watching or just jumped on, we're having a photography chat with Rita Roams, and if you don't know, you can follow her at Rita Roams here on Instagram. You can check out ritaroams.com, and we just gotta be on just for a few more minutes, and if anybody has any questions, maybe we'll take a couple of questions, and if not, we'll conclude our time. But Rita, what would you say was your biggest fear to overcome? I mean, it's amazing to me because you've kind of unplugged from the traditional, and you guys dove into getting the RV, and because of the nature of Val's work, he's able to work remotely, and so you have that freedom to travel and go places and hang out there for longer than a traditional vacation that somebody would go. So tell me a little bit about that, and I mean, was that the biggest fear, or was it something else?
There was definitely fear around finances, for sure. You know, what's it going to cost? Is it going to be the same as if we lived in a regular brick and mortar? You know, Austin is a relatively expensive town, so we had a little bit of a higher budget to begin with because we were already used to spending a certain amount, but we went into this definitely with the goal of trying to save some money. So that was something we needed to think about, and there was a moment where we weren't sure if Val was going to be able to continue working remote. He ended up actually getting a different job that allows him to do that. So there was a moment in like November or so, or even maybe January of this year, where we thought, well, now what are we going to do? Because we weren't quite sure if it was going to still work out, because he is the one who is mainly bringing home the money. He's got a very well-paying job, and you know, with me giving up my wedding and portrait business, I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I bring to the table, and so I'm still trying to figure that out. But you know, I've got ideas, and doing things like this helps a lot with that. So I was so excited when you said you want to do that. Those are some of my fears, for sure. I also was really afraid if, you know, Val and I were going to get along being on the road. You know, it's different. It's different than having your own life, your own friends, your own distraction. You know, like, it's just us. It's just us almost 24/7, and in a 240 square foot space or something with our animals in the middle of nowhere, with a lot of extra pressures of, you know, the road and things not working right, and things that we're completely ignorant about with this life. And so I wasn't, you know, I had a lot of friends even say, "Woo, I hope you guys have a strong marriage." But a year later, we're still doing good. No talks of divorce. Not to say that we don't have our moments. It's funny when we get into a fight, because, you know, it's not like we can just go into other rooms or anything. Just sort of respectfully know, like, okay, you're gonna sit 2 feet away from me and pretend there's a wall here and give us, you know, we have to have space. But yeah, it's you know, I was really worried about doing stuff online too, because it's scary putting yourself out there. There are millions of other travel bloggers, millions, and, you know, younger and cuter and just more experience, and, you know, all the things that people have in their minds to make them feel insecure about whatever. And so trying to be my authentic self and what that even looks like, you know.
Yeah.
What stuff you want to share and not share. Because there's also security, you know, being on the road as far as like having strangers come up and just say hi because they follow you or something, you know, sometimes you're like, is this okay? But for the most part, I just try to embrace everything with an open heart and just trust that people are good, and that's really what is important to me. I love connecting with people. I'm all about community, and so you know, that's something that I love when that happens, but it's still a little bit weird sometimes.
Right, they're coming up with their Sharpies. Hey, can you sign my official Rita Roams, you know, photo bag?
Not quite that. But.
Not yet. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it's super. It is. You know, I've said this a few times, but you truly are an inspiration to many, and because you're out and having that experience, you probably don't get that feedback. So that's why I feel compelled to, you know, share that and encourage you with that, because I look at, you know, we're similar in our life station and in our age range, and to make a step of faith really to go out and do something that that there's a lot of fear of the unknown and how's this all going to work, and yet to still have the courage to jump out there and try and make a go of it. That's inspiring. I don't care what age you are, right? I don't care where you're. I mean, to see that and to see it working and to see your creativity grow with, I mean, you're in now new spaces in photography that you might not have found yourself in before, and I mean that's awesome.
Thanks, Erik.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. You've always been such a good cheerleader for me and such a huge source of encouragement. I still remember talking with those people in the Nat Geo house a couple of years ago, and you were like, Rita, tell them what you're doing. I'm like, I just got like completely deep in headlights and didn't even know how to describe what we were doing. You were so sweet to just be like, no, what you're doing is actually really cool. Don't be shy.
Yeah, it's inspiring. I mean, we looked at them, you know, we sat in that Nat Geo photography installation and listened to all their adventures, which was cool. But your adventure is just as cool and just as inspiring as theirs. So it's only a matter of time before Nat Geo's knocking on your door or calling you saying, hey, we really like what you're doing. Can, you know.
Well, that's the dream. That's the dream right there, for sure. I'll put that out there. I'll take that.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that when you talk about what inspires you, you know, like literally I can remember the Nat Geo picture in my mind of being a kid of like, that's what I want to do. That's the, like they've always been a huge source for all of us that are photography geeks. You know, it's like we all kind of resonate with that whole idea. So
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing what you're doing. I think what we'll do just for a few minutes is open it up and give people an opportunity to ask any questions. I know Samantha was asking about mirrorless, but I could talk a little bit about that. I mean, I've only been shooting mirrorless for 6 months, but I really want this to be more about what you're doing. So Samantha, I will get back to you and we'll have a chat about mirrorless later. But yeah, if anybody has a comment or a question for Rita, post that up and I'll try to curate those as best as possible. So where's your next destination since you're in Moab and you went to Arches already?
I think tonight, well, in maybe like an hour, we're going to be trying to go to Canyonlands, which we haven't seen. So we're going to check out that and hopefully be there, you know, around sunset and of course I've got all my gear and everything. And Val, I haven't even talked about Val's new fascination and love for drone photography and footage. So we have a little DJI Spark little baby drone.
Yep, saw that.
He just looks for chances to fly that thing around anywhere he can. So that's been fun to add that to our little kit of tools.
Right.
And then after that, we're going to go to Salt Lake City. I am going to be going to a convention there for Young Living Essential Oils, which I'm a distributor for. I just became one, so I'm going to be going to that convention, which just happened to work out perfect. We were in the area.
Cool.
And then from there, we're going to go up to Grand Teton.
Tetons.
Teton?
Grand Tetons, yep.
Yeah, we're going to go up into Wyoming and Idaho and hopefully make it all the way up to Glacier in Montana.
Nice.
So that's the plan, and then kind of see where we go from there.
Now, is Yellowstone on that path?
You got digitized. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, is Yellowstone National Park on that path?
Oh man.
I was asking if you were headed to Yellowstone on either there or back.
Oh. Yes, Yellowstone and Wyoming as well. If we can get in, that's one of the most popular parks this time of the year. People book up to a year in advance, so wow. We'll see how it goes. We're you there, Eric?
Yep, I'm still here.
Can you hear me? Okay, on my end, there's a little circle around your face, like it's stalled.
I'm
but
frozen.
If you can hear me, that's okay. Okay. So we're going to be trying to do more of the dry camping, which is where you just kind of basically, it's like tent camping except in an RV. You know, you have your own water on board, and we bought a bunch of solar, and so we're going to see if we can go off grid a little bit more. Off grid so much, at least as far as power goes.
Yeah.
We still have to always have the internet and whatnot, but we could have a lot more options being able to camp in other places that are not just RV parks.
And propane. Get your propane on. I'm not
Yeah,
seeing
exactly.
any. I don't know if you're seeing any of the comments come through. I'm thinking it's probably frozen, so I'm not seeing any questions. So if you've asked any questions, I apologize that we haven't got to it. But I think it's been great chatting with you. I think it's been a success.
Our first live.
It's been inspirational, and despite our technical challenges, I'm gonna pray that your car starts fine.
Thank you. Me too.
But yeah, thank you so much for taking the time out and spending the time with us here, and just sharing with us your journey and the things that you're learning and the things that you've already learned, so that it enriches the rest of our lives, which in our photography journeys, which is really, really cool. So.
Well, thank you, Eric. I just adore you, and I'm so tickled that you asked me to do this. And I'm gonna be knocking on your door next. We're gonna be doing this, but in reverse.
Cool. Sounds good. Sounds good.
All righty. Well, I wish you all the best, all of you and your beautiful family. And tell Judy I said hi.
All right, and likewise, same to you. And again, if you guys that are watching, visit RitaRoams.com. Follow Rita Roams on IG. You can check her out on Facebook as well. All the best pictures are on IG, though. So thanks again for stopping by, and have a good one. Keep taking photos and keep rocking that shutter.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you, Rita.
All right, bye.
Bye. All right, so we're wrapping up. Thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Hopefully that you've been inspired, or learned something, or in some way it's going to inspire you to get out and shoot some more photography and do that thing. So I'm curious to know if there's anybody else that you'd like us to chat with and learn from, or some of the topics that you would like to hear about regarding photography and video and production in that space. Be sure to follow us here on Instagram. Check out the YouTube channel at Erik Thureson, and be sure to subscribe there. And until next time, cheers.